directed by Christopher Nolan and is based on a true story, the Dunkirk evacuations, British soldiers and French soldiers from France during World War II. And if you like movies or you like Christopher Nolan, then you're probably excited for this film because it is directed by, like I say, Christopher Nolan. And obviously, if you've been watching any of my videos for the last couple of months, then you know that I'm reviewing every film of Christopher Nolan leading up to Dunkirk, and also there'll be 3 after, simply because I couldn't get the schedules and stuff. But yeah, there will be 3 more reviews of Christopher Nolan films after this. But I obviously saw it yesterday, and I wanted to review it because, well, this is not only one of my most anticipated films of the year, right? Christopher Nolan is one of my favourite directors, if not my favourite director. I absolutely love the guy. I think he is one of those people who genuinely made me want to make movies. And this is one of my most anticipated films of the year. And I think a lot of people are very, very excited for this film. And going in, like, I was very excited, right? But I was kind of, at the same time, I was cautious because this is the first time Nolan's really done a sort of based on a true story film. All of the films that he's made leading up to this film have been sort of fictional, have been like made up stories. And also, it's a war movie and we've never really seen Nolan do something like this before. And also, his last 2 films, Dark Knight Rises and Interstellar, as you'll see when I review them, I don't love them. Especially Dark Knight Rises. I'm not a fan of that film. And so, I was scared that Nolan, maybe he lost his touch as a director. I don't know. I didn't want to go in with super high expectations and just come out disappointed. But after seeing Dunkirk, there is something about this film that I can say about it that I have not said about any other film this year, and that is Dunkirk is a truly incredible cinematic experience. This is one of the best cinematic experiences I've ever had. I saw this film in IMAX 70mm film, because they shot quite a bit of this film on IMAX cameras, and obviously, Nolan loves to shoot on film, so I really wanted to see it in its true, genuine form, and I was just blown away. And this is still a Nolan film, so there is so much epicness and so much intensity at the same time. And I think that this is an incredibly unconventional war film for so many reasons that I will touch on throughout the review. But for example, like, this film basically, like, when it starts, right, you have about 40 seconds and then boom, you're in it, you're just in the moment, you're locked on, and it's just the situation and the gravity of the situation, and it just completely overwhelms you. And I think that this film is a truly immersive cinematic experience. And I remember seeing an interview with Christopher Nolan, and he said that when he makes a film, let's say the characters of his film are in a maze, he doesn't want the audience to be looking down at the maze, he wants the audience to be down there with the characters. And that is the best way to describe how I felt about Dunkirk. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was running around trying to survive with these soldiers. Whenever they felt like disoriented or in shock, I felt disoriented and in shock. And that's just such great direction from Nolan. And obviously we know that Nolan loves using practical effects, right? And there are a lot. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure, like, if this entire film is done practically, there wasn't that one scene where I was like, you know what, that's CGI. Like, whenever I saw a Spitfire flying around having dogfights with an IMAX camera attached to the wing, or a big ship blowing up, or soldiers running around and hiding for their dear life, I had one thought, and one thought only in my mind.
This is real! This is fucking real!
And I feel like only a director like Nolan could really put you in that situation and, really, really immerse you in it. And it's not just the direction, right? Obviously, this is one of the most well-directed films of the year. Nobody's going to argue. But I want to talk about some of the other stuff as well, because everyone knows Christopher Nolan is a great director, right? So, the cinematography by Hoyt van Hoytema, who's like a really popular cinematographer right now in Hollywood. He did a really great job with this film. This is a very good looking film, but it's very subtle, it's very subdued, it's not like overly stylized, and I think that's really good because I think this film actually has like a very specific color palette. It doesn't have like these big, like, bright colors. It's just kind of blues and whites and sort of browns, and it's really, really subdued, but at the same time it just looks gorgeous. And it's not just the actual way that the film looks, but the way the camera is used, the way that they manipulate the camera to tell the story, that was just so incredible. That was just, again, something that only a director like Nolan would know how to do. Also, I have to talk about the sound design, because I don't really talk about sound design when I review films, but with this one, man. When the first gunshot was fired, like, if you saw it like a big fat IMAX theater like I did with big fat speakers, like when the first gunshot went off, I actually jumped. It's just incredible, the sound. Whether it's, like I said, the gunshots, or the Spitfires just flying around, or the boats, or the waves, or the explosions, everything just sounds so real. You know, it's just, it really does just, I can't say this enough, it really does immerse you in this situation. And the best way for me to describe what this film is, essentially, is that it's basically like Hacksaw Ridge without the first half. So you start right in the action. It's incredibly exciting. There's never a boring moment. It's always suspense, always intensity, always just, you know, in the moment, right? And I think that a complaint that some people have been having with the film is that there's not enough time dedicated to the characters, there's not enough character development. And I think that is fair enough, because you look at a film like Gravity, which is just like, I think, Dunkirk, a very in-the-moment sort of visual experience film, right? And that film takes time to sort of develop the characters of Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Whereas this film, there isn't as much sort of characterization, there isn't as much time spent with the actual characters, you know, seeing what they're like and stuff, seeing sort of what their motivations are and what they're like. But to be honest, I don't think it needs that though, because Dunkirk isn't about the characters, it's about the situation that the characters are in. And so I do feel like there doesn't need to be that much characterization. Although I do think that it would have been nice just to see maybe 10 or 5 minutes, a little bit extra there, just to spend a little bit more time with these characters and give them just a tiny bit more dialogue. I think that would have been a little bit better, in my opinion. Because this film is only an hour and 47 minutes long. I think this is probably Nolan's shortest film since Memento or Insomnia. This is a very short film, which is, you know, very weird for Nolan, considering his last film, Interstellar, was almost 3 hours long. And I think another sort of issue with the film that some people have had is the fact that there's not enough dialogue, there's no dialogue. And I think the script for this film was only like 75, 76 pages long. I think this is definitely a film that lets its visuals and its sounds and just its situation, the sort of suspenseful intensity, like the environment, speak for the film. There doesn't need to be dialogue when you have visuals like this that really do just speak for themselves, you know? And again, I can't stress this enough, this is an experience film. This is one that really immerses you and makes you feel like you're in the situation, makes you feel like you're one of the characters, which basically means that, you know, if you're in a war where 400,000 people are running around a beach getting gunned down by German planes, it's not, you know, you're probably not going to be like, you know, my favorite film is Forrest Gump. I like Shawshank Redemption. You know, you're not going to be going around talking about, oh, I like this person, oh yeah, I can't wait to go home and see my brother or my mom. Like, you're probably just going to be running around, hiding and trying to survive. There doesn't need to be dialogue, because most likely at that time, you know, there wasn't any dialogue. People weren't speaking, they were just trying to survive. Hacksaw Ridge, right, the first half of that film, I think is vital to the movie, because otherwise it would just be Andrew Garfield running around trying to save people. You wouldn't really care about him because you haven't spent that much time with him, you know? And so I do feel like if this film had dedicated a little bit more time to the characters, I would have cared about them and cared about the situation just a little bit more. But, you know, it's fine, it's just like a minor thing. But even though there is a slight lack of, you know, characters, and, you know, some of them don't even have names, right? The acting is top notch. I mean, Tom Hardy, who basically wears a mask, he plays an RAF pilot, he basically wears a mask throughout the entire film. He's very good, right? Although he doesn't really like have much dialogue again. Kenneth Branagh is very good. Cillian Murphy, very good. And I thought Mark Rylance was also very good. He was probably my favourite character in this film. I thought he had a really good sort of story arc. He won the Oscar for Bridge of Spies. I haven't seen Bridge of Spies. I'm seriously thinking about watching it now because I just really enjoyed his performance in this film. You know who else is good in this film? Harry Styles. Yeah, I never thought I'd say that in my lifetime. He's good. Again, not much dialogue, but it's really just about how he reacted to the situation around him. But to be honest, I feel like the actors in this film had it pretty easy because everything, like I said, felt so real, and it probably was real, you know, and it basically feels like Nolan literally recreated this situation, this event, and the actors are just kind of reacting to it. Also, the main character sort of is played by Theon Whitehead, who's like a new actor. I've never seen him in anything before. He's also very good. Like I said, even though there isn't much dialogue, the actors all are very good because it's really just about them reacting to this situation. We also obviously have to talk about Hans Zimmer's score. Hans Zimmer is my favourite composer. He's always obviously worked with Nolan. He's produced some of his best work with Nolan. And in this film, I feel like Hans Zimmer's score is great, by the way. But like, most of the film has a score, right? And it really has sort of a rhythm to it. It's like boom, 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 boom. And it kind of goes up as the scenes get more intense. And there's this sort of like ticking clock, like... And it's really, really cool. But it doesn't really feel like actual like music. But whenever there is like proper music, I think that's really used to emphasize, you know, how important this scene is. Like, there's this one scene, right? I think about 3/4 through the movie, where these, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's these sort of boats coming into Dunkirk, and Hans Zimmer's score just comes in, and I'm just like... And that scene just sent chills down my spine. In fact, this entire film was directed like, again, so much epicness, but so much intensity, and it just sent chills down my spine to see just how realistic all of this is. And I think another thing about this film is that it's not like, again, not like Hacksaw Ridge. This is a very, very unconventional war film, right? It's not rated R or anything. The violence, right, it's very subdued. Like the gunfire, like the gunshots kind of still sound like gunshots, but like when a Spitfire is flying, like Tom Hardy's having like dogfights with like German pilots, like it's a lot more realistic. It's not just like pew, 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 pew. It's more like actual, like what would actually happen, you know? It's not stylized, and I really, really like that because it's just different. It's just such a refreshing change of pace. And another sort of issue that some people have been having with this film is the fact that there is this weird sort of structure to it. Basically, if you've seen the film, and I think you know what I mean, there's like these 3 different storylines kind of going in parallel, but they're going at different times. And, you know, obviously Nolan is a director who is known for sort of manipulating time in his films, whether it's the dream layers in Inception or the non-linear storytelling in Memento and Prestige. And I think this is probably his most experimental way of telling the story through the manipulation of time, because it's very interesting. I don't want to give away anything, but I think when you see it, it will be a little bit complicated and hard to understand at first, but as the film goes on, you're going to start picking up on it, and you're really going to appreciate it, because I think that some people will be like, oh, it doesn't need to be there, you know, you're making a war film, you just need to make it simple. But I just feel like that addition makes it, it adds an extra layer of complexity to it, and I really, really appreciated that, and I feel like that is really what makes a Nolan movie, you know? It's like so complex, and even though sometimes it doesn't have to be. And the ending, man. Like, I know that obviously after the Dunkirk evacuation, the war went on for another couple of years, but it was just, I don't know, Nolan, I mean, say what you will about the guy, right? He knows how to end a film. And I love the ending. Like, it was just so great. So I guess Dunkirk isn't necessarily my favourite film of the year. It's probably not the best film of the year, but it's a truly incredible cinematic experience, and that's something I cannot say about any other film I've seen this year. Even though, again, like I said, it's not my favourite film of the year. It's probably not the best film of the year, but it's just, you know, like, it's the most sort of filmy film. It's an experience, and it's just like, and because of that, I'm gonna give Dunkirk an A. Thank you as always, guys, for watching. Thank you.